So we got a new sponsor, Ballogy. Appreciate the people at Ballogy for showing some love in us. That was kind of a unexpected news bit for us to in our brief hiatus that we got a new sponsor. So let me tell you a little bit about our friends at Ballogy. Ballogy is built for coaches like you. It gives real data on player development, saves you time, and ensures your players are training the right way. With verified skill assessments, AI-driven training, and direct recruiting connections, it levels the playing field for every athlete, no matter where they're from. If you're serious about player development and accountability, why not try Ballogy? Join thousands of teams, coaches, and organizations already using Ballogy to elevate their game. Download the Ballogy app today. Bruni, you are a coach yourself.
I was about to
Ballogy
say,
is something you're always looking for information assessments and any way you can get your team right. Sounds like Ballogy could be right up your alley too.
I will have a full review next podcast of how we
There we
use it.
go.
So yes, we will. We don't have a tournament this weekend. We have 2 weeks off. Thankfully, we've been everywhere, so we'll be back at it, and I will have the full review for you for Ballogy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Zone Star State podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Ishmael Johnson. And today we start a new series, a new summer, new off season, and we are joined by Matt Wilson from Between2Bears on the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Podcast Network. Matt, how are you doing today?
We are in the business of selling hope. This is the hope season.
Yes, it is. In every sport.
Exactly. This isn't the best time of the year, right? That is when March Madness starts for me. But it's close. Anything is possible in May. Anything is possible. Guys, I'm very, very excited. Evan and I recorded Between2Bears a couple weeks ago, and I'm feeling the need to just talk ball on a more regular basis. So I'm really, really excited to do this.
Yes. Well, we will cover everything from Baylor's last year to next year to the Big 12 and so on. There was an episode we did in early January. I think it was after they lost to, I don't want to be wrong. I think it was Arizona. That's January 14th. Yeah, they lost to Arizona. And then they subsequently lost to TCU. But even before the TCU loss, I told Ish I was done with this team. And that was when they were just 3-2 in conference. So it was like, it wasn't terrible yet. And not that it got terrible, but
yeah, I am confused if you are pulling receipts on yourself or if this is you're feeling vindicated. I don't know.
I want to give you the background of where I was.
Okay.
A month into conference play, and I was like, I'm done with this team. And I never fully came back around, even though I think there were some flashes, and it was like, I think they maybe could get a 7 seed, 6 seed. And then it was like, are they out the tournament, and so on and so forth. What was the roller coaster of this year like for you, I guess, is what I wanted to ask.
For me, I guess at the very beginning of the season, I could see a situation where Scott Drew has brought in veteran leadership at multiple positions, has brought in elite freshman talent at multiple positions, and I could go, oh, okay, there is the framework of something that could do something in March, right? And then I kept looking at the roster and the depth chart, and I saw, 2 players over 6'9" like around that area. And I just, my expectations at the beginning of any Baylor basketball season, going back all the way to 2011, right? After the Final Four run, the year after that, my expectation was Sweet 16 every year. And it kind of has been. I saw the depth chart. I saw 2 front court players total. And my expectations kind of leveled off with just like, hey, make the tournament, see what happens. That was always kind of my attitude towards this last season. And boy, it was kind of like, kind of happy to meet those expectations, judging by, the seeding and whatnot. All in all, successful considering you did all of that with only one healthy post player at the end of the season, with 2 freshmen playing considerable minutes and massive roles with those minutes too. And it was a roster construction lesson, I think, as well for Scott Drew. But we met expectations, but my expectations were lower than normal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for me and Bruni were pretty high on this team heading into the year.
Very high.
For multiple reasons. I think one of them was obviously the momentum, whether this plays out on the court, but the momentum of maintaining Scott Drew's Baylor, right? After the Kentucky search. And basically making the biggest, if not the second biggest, transfer signing in Jeremy Roach, according to a lot of people. That was a big deal. And of course, the incoming freshman class, we were both very high on VJ Edgecombe, who I think lived up to a lot of the hype. And I think the combination of all of that, in retrospect, had us overlooking a lot of the real issues with the front court.
Did we overlook it though? We said like Omer would have to play some 5, and we were like,
here's where we did overlook it. I think one,
we're still very high.
Jeremy Roach was was a bust. It was a bust of a move. Yes. Like just was, especially when you compare it to the point guards that Scott Drew has brought in post national title. Like,
are we doing the Jeremy Roach thing right now? Is that what
the what?
Yeah.
Is this the time?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You bring Jeremy Roach, good player. I think we're all like, he played well at Duke.
He was a starting guard for a Duke team that made a run a couple years ago. Like
precisely.
He's a starting caliber player. Yes.
I think anybody would point at that and say, would I rather have him on my team or not on my team? Right. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I was never a massive fan. I was always like, I saw what Tyrese Proctor did to Baylor in New York City the beginning of the season prior. And I said, that's him. It was also the sassy kid who plays for the Sixers now. What's his name?
McCain.
Thank you. McCain. Yeah. He was also the kid.
Yeah. That's a great description. By the way.
Tell me he's not sassy.
Exactly
okay, thank you. I just couldn't think of his name.
It's a good descriptor.
Those were the 2 that did all of the work against Baylor. I was like, I like Roach. He's not bad. I think there was a point like in maybe November, maybe December, where you hear from Scott Drew's office just over here. It's like, shit, he's not a point guard. And like, because he's not, he's a 2 guard.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a 2 guard like that. I mean, so we had him trying to do things that other Baylor point guards were actually quite good at. And it just didn't fit his game. We needed to be running Roach off multiple ball screens for 15-foot jumpers, I guess. I don't know. But like, that's a different story. I think you saw flashes of what the offensive plan was when the former Bear that shall not be named was running point instead of Jeremy Roach. I think he's a good player. I just don't think the fit was what anybody was expecting.
Sure. That's fair. And I think for us, we looked at it on paper, right? As like, oh, Jeremy Roach, Norshad Omier, VJ Edgecombe coming in, point guard who now plays for BYU, right? Like we had if by the end of the year, he's probably going to be run. I think me and Bruni had the expectation, like by the end of the year, is probably playing next to Jeremy Roach. And sure enough, he was supplanting Jeremy Roach. But what happened was I think we looked at all those on paper and we're like, if they can just get something from Josh Ozarwuna, right? Something from these guys that were going to be asked to play above their level, right? Jalen Silestein,
right.
They have to play some big boy 5, right? If they can get something from that, we like this team. And I think what I admittedly ignored straight up for the first month of the season, I was like, Gonzaga, sure, whatever. First game of the year, Gonzaga might be really awesome. I'm going to ignore this crazy blowout, right?
Same, because Baylor has one of those in the non-conference schedule, in them at any point. Michigan State, it was in 22 or 23. There's been a number of them. This was not concerning to me at all because Gonzaga's playing basically at home.
Right.
Baylor is trying to put a completely new team together. This is the first good team they've played, and they have to play them what, first game of the season? Come on.
Yeah, it was first game of the season. And so for me, it was like, even the Tennessee loss after that, I was like, they're still working things out. They beat St. John's. That, like they had some good wins on there. But then it became very obvious that there was a hard ceiling on what this team was.
Oh boy. Yeah.
A very hard ceiling. Like any team in the top half of the Big 12 or top 5 or whatever, it was like, we're probably losing by 15, right? We're probably losing by 10 or 15. And I guess you said you headed into the season with not necessarily that exact expectation, but like, was there a moment for you this season where you're like, ooh, there is a hard cap on how good this team can be?
You play, like you said, you play Tennessee, you lose in what I remember as being a more competitive game than 15 points.
Mm-mm.
But you're like, okay, Tennessee, maybe one of the a top 10 defense in the country.
Well, that's when
potentially
Tennessee jumped on them and Lanier started hitting, went crazy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes.
So you're like, okay, and then you're like, okay, we get Connecticut, but it's away, but they're missing one of their best players. Let's go see what we can do. And you lose close. You're like, okay. You knock out your non-cons against the losers, and you play Utah, and you blow out Utah. I'm like, all right. This was okay. First conference game of the season, you win by almost 30. Let's go. And then you immediately drop one by 20 to Iowa State. And I was just like, oh, okay. For me, though, it was the I think it was Texas Tech. And at this point, I'm always going to underrate Texas Tech. No matter how good they are, how bad they are. I'm going to tell you that they're the worst team in the conference. It's just a personal thing.
Sure.
And then Texas Tech beats us by, again, like 15 or so. And I think end of January, early February, I said, okay, this is not going to be the optimal version of what I thought this team could be. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Something good can still come out of the season. And it did. Like I still think this was, in the grand scheme of things, you look across the country, you look at other teams from the Big 12, this was a successful season. But it's funny, though, that we're talking about a season meeting or not meeting expectations for Baylor basketball still. I realize it was 20 years ago. I'm old. Shut up. But, like, the expectation for Baylor basketball now is to make it deep into March, not be competitive and feisty in conference. Like, that's the expectation now. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It was a fun year. Like, I understand, like, the ups and downs portion of it, but, like, they were 16th in the country in offense. You had a legitimate, like, VJ Edgecombe. The improvement of VJ Edgecombe.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that was the fun part. Yes, I agree.
To March to February, like, he was such a different player. That was so fun. I mean, the evolution of him alone, I thought, made it really entertaining to watch. And, they threw out zone. They tried some things defensively. I can't say Scott Drew didn't try things because we saw the lineups change. We saw
buddy.
He tried everything he probably knew.
Buddy.
There wasn't enough to work with here. So they beat the win over Mississippi State. I thought was a really, really good win. In the tournament, obviously.
Tough win. Because Mississippi State, tough defensive team. Like, you have to bring a really organized, effective offense to do that.
I was just I thought that was like I can feel like I'm fulfilled to a degree. Like you said, the standard is now very high for Baylor basketball, as it should be, but I didn't come away from the year saying, wow, this was just like, you weren't TCU. Like, it didn't feel like you just bottomed out. Like, if this is as bad as it gets, all right, we're 30th in KenPom. Like, it's not a terrible year.
No, if that's a down year, thumbs up, man. I'm still on the train. We're good. We're good.
Now
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna go right into the off season.
Yeah, no, I was too. Like, as a transition, it's kind of a bridge to that. How well do you think the season looked? Because I think Baylor fans, you and other Baylor fans, I think generally indifferent about this year, probably overall in the grand scheme of like the last, post
the last season or looking forward to this
last
season.
Season. Probably indifferent.
I think so.
Season.
Yeah, indifferent.
Would that be different if a certain point guard doesn't leave and you have him as kind of like a crux going into what you guys are building? Because I think you guys have built, we can look forward now, a really interesting roster literally from nothing because what's been lost and things like that. Are things looked at a little bit differently because there's like, oh man, there's this thing from last year that really improved, and all of a sudden you have this thing to build off of? Or is it kind of outside of the people who follow this sport pretty closely? I'm pretty excited about this potential team. I don't want to speak for you. I presume Brune is as well. Last year, a lot of the casual Baylor fan, I feel like probably like, I don't know what to expect because this team's brand new, and we don't know. I think
the only way the perspective I can give you is like the Facebook commenter perspective of the program. Oh my God, we lost every single player. Scott Drew doesn't know what he's doing. We lost everybody. We can't be paying all these kids $2 million. Like that's the state of like a college athletics fan who comments on Facebook things in general. But especially when you lose 100% of your roster, including the walk-ons, that's the point where I was just like, who cares? What is anything anymore? Even the walk-ons transfer. Who cares? You're worried about college sports when there's so-and-so going on. So
I like to think about like uncharacteristically Scott Drew's like, I've had it.
It's just going Yosemite Sam in his office, just shooting guns in the practice facility.
It just broke him.
I'm gonna do a cuss. Like I'm just but like I think that's where the typical like I follow it kinda basketball fan is in terms of the Baylor fan base. I think the more educated, like one notch above that, is like, well, we got a bunch of mid-major guys. This sucks. We had to pull a guy from Rice to like. I think that's kind of where we are. Right. I think the hoop heads. I'm considering myself in that.
Of course.
Yeah.
The ball knowers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys. At first, I was thinking, wow, we're relying on a lot of mid-major guys to step up in competition. Who knows what these guys can do? I think that's an okay thing to think.
Sure.
But that's why you go watch the tape.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you grind tape, y'all. Because I start looking at these guys. I start looking at J.J. White, Obi Agbim, Dan Skillings, Michael Rataj, Caden Powell. And I'm just like, oh. I was telling Evan on the episode a couple weeks ago, I see the vision.
Mm-hmm.
I see the vision. And it's different from a lot of the Baylor teams that we saw in the late 2010s and the last 3 years. But I see it. And we can start wherever you guys want to in terms of this roster. I'm super excited about almost every player that's joining.
I think for me and for us, we talked so much the past couple of years about the lack of size. I think whether it's on the wing, in the front court, or both, I think at times this year, I think that's where I start in terms of they went and got size. And it starts with Bodo at 6'11" from High Point. But even the wings that they got, like you said, I mean, Caden Powell is a 4, but Michael Rataj 6'9". Like, they went and got a bunch of size. So that's where I start, is like in the front court, and say, all right, now they can legitimately go 4 or 5 deep here and rotate bigs and not have to be like, well, we got one guy that's 6'10". If not, then we got a 6'7" guy.
It felt like to me, and when me and Bruni talked about this, it felt like to me the past couple of years post-national title was Scott Drew trying to kind of find that similar balance of small ball, where it was like you have the one big guy, right?
Yes.
It was Flo Thamba / Jonathan Chamachatra / Isma C, and then everybody else is like 6'7", and then like we just make it
that.
Work.
Who gives like I don't think they gave any kind of care about the size of anybody else on the roster. Give me a rim roller and somebody who can dominate the defensive glass, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yes, and I think this year was like, you know what, that didn't work.
No.
So bring me everybody over 6'9", and then we will figure out everything else later.
Can I just start like talking about some of these guys? Because I think let's start with Bodo. And by the way, I'm calling him out. My co-host, Evan Hebert. Mm-hmm. He tells me during the recording a couple weeks ago, he says, did you mean to put Justin Bodo? No, I didn't. But you made me second guess myself. It's Juzlin
Yes.
Bodo, and he has a 7'8" wingspan, and he is the most violent dunker of the basketball I have seen since Quincy Acey in a Baylor uniform.
Randomly, I came across a Quincy Acey highlight on like Twitter. Like
that's the algorithm, baby. Yeah, let's go.
I was like, what are we? Because like it wasn't the NBA, so it wasn't even at like Baylor. I was like, are people nostalgic for NBA Quincy Acey? Like I love Quincy Acey.
I saw one on TikTok last night. I am not joking.
I was like, where's this come from? But anyway, sorry.
Crazy lob threat. Catches the lob really, really well. I only saw it a couple times, but it seems to be a competent perimeter defender, which you know how switchy Scott Drew teams like to get at times, right? Yep. Really good timing on rolls. And I swear to God, this is my only complaint about the Baylor coaching staff over the last 10, 15 years. The only complaint, the only tactical thing I wish they would change. Baylor players are great at getting position for rebounds. I can count on one hand the number of players or maybe even times a player has actively boxed out from the basket to create space for a rebound. Yeah. Juzlin Bodo does that. And he can catch the ball, which if you're a Baylor fan, you know, is a kind of a big thing for your big man.
Yeah, I am. He comes from High Point as well, who was, I talked a lot about Huss on this podcast when it came to like a lot of coaching openings. So I was like, I would like A&M to look, there was like a lot of, obviously he ended up getting the Creighton head coach and waiting job, but anybody off that team Baylor could have signed, I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. Like just, it worked.
Good team.
They were
tournament team.
Great. Yeah. They were such a great team to watch, a fun offense to watch. So yeah, he was somebody who, if you looked at him and Daniel Skillings for me were probably the two players that I was like probably most excited about, but you mentioned it.
Well, that's weird to be super excited about Dan Skillings. We'll get there. Unless you just want to go there now.
We can. We made we can talk about the trade that Baylor and Cincinnati made. Jalen Celestine for Daniel Skillings.
I loved the concept of Jalen Celestine. I think the idea was great. The tape at Cal, I understood, made sense. And then I saw him give up. It was either 3 or 4 consecutive open threes to Sam Houston State in the left corner of a zone.
Yeah.
Of a zone. And he was playing the left corner. And that's kind of like the thing you do when you play the corner is you play the corner.
Yeah.
And it just like defensively it never clicked, I don't think. And the shooting was up and down. I hope he finds all the success in the world at Cincinnati. Dan Skillings Jr., it's funny. I've been talking with some Cincinnati fans. They're like, have fun with him. They don't know what to do with Dan Skillings either. I see him as like the the central idea of what this team build is. I have this concept that I created probably 10, 15 years ago called Team Do Stuff. I think you just need a couple guys on the floor at all times. They are just guys that literally just do stuff. They're around the ball. They're just doing things. They're not standing. They are doing something always. Dan Skillings feels like a Team Do Stuff guy. I don't know if that percentage of the stuff that he does is going to be high enough for him to be like well-renowned. I think he's the ultimate glue guy. He shoots it a little bit. He rebounds a ton. He cuts. He's a decent passer. He gets after it defensively. How much of quality defense there is there, I don't know, but he gets after it, which is, hey, that's all I need. I really like him as kind of like the central idea of what Baylor was looking at in order to build this roster. 6'7", 7'2" wingspan. Keep these numbers in mind as we go through this roster.
Yeah, I think for me, he's some. Go ahead. I was going to say, like, I haven't been this excited about a Baylor player who wasn't a ball handler, like, in a while.
Really?
Like, I think, like, there's like most of the clips I've seen of him are doing, like you mentioned, he's making the right.
He's all over the place. He's just doing stuff.
He's curling off the screen. He's running the baseline. Like there's so many things where I'm like, oh man, when's the last time I've been really excited about a Baylor player who did that? Who did that kind of stuff? And it was like I can't remember. It was always a ball handler, point guard, playmaker.
Maceo Teague, I think. Maceo Teague on the 21 team.
Great pull, yeah.
That's a name. Caden Powell, I liked at Rice quite a bit. I think coming off the bench, he's going to be a very, very fine player. The Rice team kind of got lost like halfway through the year, and they just forgot how to play
also,
basketball.
like the Rice team got lost, but also like all their guys have gone like power four.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Well, because they had like the non-conference dollars like really high on Rice, and then they forgot. Like I said,
yeah, they recently signed somebody else went to like Duke or something recent. I'm like, they were that good. I mean, I like them, but anyway, that's a side.
I did like Powell. So if you have anything on Powell before we,
I got some stuff on Powell. First off, you're not going to disrespect the program out on Main Street over there, okay? You are talking to the 2004 Rice University summer basketball camp hotshot champion, okay? So I know what I'm talking about. It was me and Coach Willis Wilson out there, Coach Herndon out there, okay? And the thing that I learned I had a passion for from Coach Herndon, who I think coaches at a high school in Houston now. The footwork of a competent big man is some of the coolest nitty-gritty basketball stuff you can pay attention to. It is the offensive line play in my mind of football, right? Powell, I think, is going to be the perfect versatile role man for what Scott Drew likes to get to in the offense. He has great mobility. He has great hands and awesome touch, right? So you get a less than ideal pass off the pick and roll, and he's in that kind of weird 5 to 6 foot range. He is so comfortable just turning, boop, post hook, easy to. Like, we haven't had that. Hell, even during the championship run, there wasn't that escape button that we could press if needed to. 6'10", right? 7'2" wingspan again. Strong, can't move them. Easy matchup on some of the more physical bigs, I think, that Baylor might face, right? I am very excited, and not for him to sit the bench, Matt. I want him to start. You said coming off the bench. I want him to start. I want him to be the starting five on this team. I really do. I think he fits exactly what this team wants to do. I like him a lot. I love a big man with the ability to catch the ball and just like finish from 5 or 6 feet, no matter what. I'm very excited for him.
Yeah, he's much more skilled. Like him and Boda are completely different players. Yeah,
yes,
in a lot of ways. So I don't hate that at all. Let's go to the highest ranked and highest rated players in this class. Michael Rataj is the number one. Is he the best player in this class to you?
I'm reading a Facebook comment right now. It says Oregon State. They don't play no basketball at Oregon State. Michael Rataj is hooping up there. Okay. Yeah. Nobody was paying attention because it was Oregon State. 6'9", 7 foot wingspan. Are you noticing a trend here? Mm-hmm. Okay. Michael Rataj is a gap filler. Ayo, right? He can score on the low block, but also in the mid range. He's comfortable there in the dunker spot or a step out or a step in. He's comfortable on the elbow. Anywhere that you are wanting to hurt a zone, or typically where Baylor has lacked an easy button there, Michael Rataj is. He can also shoot from the corner three. He finishes well at the rim. I like what he will be from a offensive versatility standpoint. I don't know what he's going to be defensively, but like I'd rather have a mediocre defender out there that's 6'9" and with a 7 foot wingspan than 6'1" with no wingspan, right? And that's what Baylor has put out on the floor for the last couple of years. And I'm really excited. I think he can make plays from the high post. I think he and Dan Skillings may be a little redundant, but in great ways. I think they're going to be really, really important. Maybe not highlight worthy, but I think really, really important.
Yeah. So, did you answer my question? Who is he the best player in this class?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't. Maybe the most. I think he will be the most consistent in terms of statistical production. I think it's Obi Agbim.
Okay.
I think it's Obi Agbim. This guy, 6'3", 6'8" wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just he gives me like the small guard version of Lance Stevenson a little bit, but with a little bit more control. Mm-hmm. True 3-level scorer. He scores well at he shoots 59% at the rim. He can stretch the floor above the break too, right? We've had guys that can hit from the corners, but we've lacked the off the dribble, pull up and shoot force that I think Agbim can bring. He throws the roll man open really, really well. And Baylor's going to create catch and shoot threes. That's like the whole thing. And he shoots those at an extremely high clip. Really, really excited about him. Again, don't know what he's going to be defensively, but at the point guard, we've been rocking 6'1" with short wingspans. Not the case with Obi. Really athletic. And he's old. I like an old guard. I like it. Obi, I think, is going to be the most impactful.
I like that. Yeah.
Any other players ish you want to?
For me, JJ White. When's the last time since probably who are the guards that Baylor has had, point guards, lead guards, that have been known for attacking the rim?
Davion Mitchell. I mean, like it was Davion Mitchell. Jared Butler to a degree, but he was even a bigger guard in terms of physique. Yeah. You nailed it. The first thing I noticed about JJ White, if you are a Baylor diehard watcher, all of the successful guards in a Scott Drew system have been able to attack the rim, but also are either naturally predisposed or have practiced and improved on finishing high off the glass. Mm-hmm. If they're not playing above the rim, they're playing above the rim off the glass, right? Mm-hmm. JJ White does that already. 6'2", 6'5" wingspan, smallest player in the class. At 6'2", 6'5" wingspan. Shoots really, really well off the bounce, and he has like deep range. He has NBA plus range. Really, really excited. We're just looking at this. We haven't even talked about Cam Carr, 6'5", 7'2" wingspan. Mm-hmm. We don't know what he's going to be. He's a project. He showed flashes of just being a freak athlete at Tennessee. We just don't know what he's going to be. He might redshirt. He might play. I don't know. But you look at these wingspans. I think I've proven that this is going to be a very versatile, share the ball, no one lead player, different high scorer every night, share the ball, attack from all three levels. Like I think this offense could be really, really tough to stop because it'll be so different based on the matchup. Yep. But defensively, you just put 5 massive human beings out there who are athletic and have massive wingspans, and now offense isn't even a problem because you're out in transition all the time.
Do you think which side of the ball will they be better at, offense or defense?
It's a Scott Drew team, dude. Come on, like it's going to be better offensively, and we will better. Better depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at like,
team, I mean,
it's an offensive team.
Back in the day, he's building some teams like he had back in the day a little bit. So this team kind of resembles that a little bit.
A little bit. I have had flashes in my head of like Anthony Jones playing on the weak side of his zone, and just super length all over the back of a zone. But like, I don't know. We will see. I don't know what they're going to want to do defensively. I think that will have a big.
If this team plays a zone, I don't think it'll be because they're forced into it.
Correct. I agree with that.
Because they can actually play it at a high level. It's not scrambling anymore.
I just think if you're like a, middle of the Big 12 point guard, and you see Dan Skillings line up on you, or you see, any of these guys I think can defend a little bit on the perimeter. I think it's going to get real switchy real quick. I think that's what's going to happen
Yes.
because that's typically. And then we didn't even talk about the freshmen. We haven't even talked about the freshmen yet. We haven't even talked about the freshmen yet. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Tunde Yesufu.
When you have when you have everybody who's watching McDonald's All-Star Game practices and they're just salivating all over the same guy, right? Everybody's like, this guy won't stop. He keeps doing basketball a lot. Like just he's always going. He's just yes. I mean, it seems like the defensive flashes that we saw from VJ Edgecombe turned up a notch, right? Jacoby Walter turned up a notch in terms of motor. I don't need him to go out there and be perfect. Just like I said, just go do as much as your brain and your instinct can tell you to do. You're going to be a lottery pick. We just do that at Baylor. Sorry. Like if you just go out there and get enough minutes, you're going to be a lottery pick. Really, really excited for him. I think offensively he will have some growing pains. But like I said, if you're turning the other team over 15 times a game,
I mean, at that Hoop Summit, he had that run where he just scored like 8 in the fourth quarter or something like that, and I just think he's the next Baylor freshman, like you said, it's going to be a lottery pick. And
yeah, I'm done making predictions on a freshman being consistently good on offense. Yes, because the last time I did that, I got burned, and he's no longer with the team, and even he had issues at times, right? He went through growing pains. So I think this will be a team that offensively will share the ball a ton and not rely on one guy like Baylor last year did with VJ Edgecombe or the year before with Jacoby Walter. I see the vision, guys. I see the vision.
Well, you say that freshman's no longer with the team, but Twitter told me that BYU is actually just a more desirable place than
Baylor. Oh yeah. I think all of us when we were in college, we were thinking, you know what sounds good? You know what? No, this is a family show. I'm not.
we already knew where that was going anyway. Go.
I will say this. I just think there's going to be somebody else shaking the bed up in Utah next year. That's what I think.
Oh God.
Have fun, bud. Like
Shaking the bed.
Oh man, that the attitude of BYU fans, the hubris when that went down, like,
oh boy, we love basketball.
Anyways,
it was amazing. It was amazing. They're gonna be fun next year, but it's been amazing to watch.
AJ DeBanzo wants to be here.
Kevin Young's not taking a job when we make the Sweet 16 next year.
Bro, he is so gone.
That's an NBA lifer. He's gone.
Dude. He needed more articles about him. That's the only thing. Come on, y'all. Like, be real with me.
Oh,
y'all were successful y'all got me riled up. Y'all were successful in football. Just take it.
Yeah.
Just be happy with it. Come on now.
Man.
Andre Iguodala II.
Oh, let's go, bro. We are about to. This is going to be a historic run for Baylor recruiting. I'm so excited, bro.
Yeah.
We have an NBA Finals MVP coming to Waco because he said Scott Drew's going to get me right.
I was about to say, like, he better be at courtside at Foster. I better see Andre Iguodala courtside at Foster. If somebody messed up, if we don't see him for a couple games courtside at Foster.
So good. And despite being a bronzexual myself, like, I love Andre Iguodala. Like, the way,
Oh, he's fantastic.
like, his whole career is just a role player's dream. Like, I love it. I identify with him a lot. Andre Iguodala and his son's going to redshirt almost assuredly.
Mm-hmm.
A project, but like
And that's the thing with
Who cares?
freshmen in this era, anyways. I mean, you go to any school, and if you're not an immediate like 5-star Tunde Yesufu type guy, like in a lot of places, you're gonna just be because they just brought in like 8 transfers, and that's not just a Baylor thing.
Right.
I'm over here at LSU, and they just brought in 8 transfers. Like it's the freshmen are gonna take a year anyway, so it's not an indictment. It's just like it's just the situation you're kind of in right now, but. I did think bringing him in and late, they added him. They added what was his nickname? Soyoye's
Mayo.
Mayo. Thank you,
Mayo. Big Mayo.
They added Mayo. So they added a couple players late in this 2025 class to round out the roster, and I think that's good, obviously for development's sake and just to continue to add. I mean, they add size too, 6'7" and 6'10", so why not?
If you come play Baylor or come play basketball for Baylor, one of two things are going to happen, right? The first and most preferable is you're going to become a better basketball player. And there's a decent chance you will either go to the NBA or play in Europe. That's pretty good option one.
Yeah.
The only other option, the only other outcome of you coming to play for Baylor basketball is you go to the NFL. Like those are the two options that you have. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Shout out Caleb Lohner.
Shout out Caleb.
Baylor legend, Caleb Lohner. Now a tight end for the Broncos? Did they draft him? I don't know.
It sounds right. I'm trying to remember.
It was Broncos, yeah.
It was. Thank you.
4-year contract. There you go.
All right. In theory, just before we let you go, the Big 12 in the big picture now, because Texas Tech returns JT Toppin, BYU adds the number 1 player freshman in the country. I mean, we already know Iowa State, and then Kansas will probably figure it out at some point, I would assume, after last year. Where do you feel like BYU? Where do you feel like Baylor? Where should fans feel like they should be just in the hierarchy in terms of like, hey, we should be winning Big 12 championships? Like, I don't know, where do you think like the resources are? Like when you get into the big scope of things in the Big 12, how do you view it? Like, do you look at tiers or just what do you think Baylor is?
It's a tough question.
It is.
I think it. I mean, to the point of college sports, it's going to shuffle a lot year to year. I think Houston, as much as I hate them, and I hate them less now that they have now moved away by necessity from their trader that they had there on their roster. I think Houston is going to be a staple on the top. Like, I don't know what this Arizona program is moving forward. I think they're a candidate to be at least top half. Texas Tech, I mean, when you hire a Baylor assistant, you're going to be good. So they're going to be at the top half. You look at Texas Tech, Houston, I think this BYU thing is still, everybody's taking it for granted that they're going to be great next year. I don't know. They had a lottery pick on their roster this season. I was not super impressed.
Yeah, like as somebody who, I'm a Suns fan, so I saw Kevin Young, coach half an offense a year ago, whatever that was with this year I think they were fine, but like I looked at him like maybe like spicy Mark Pope. Like it was like they still had all the same questions that like when they played a good team, they still had all the same questions that they did against when they were under Mark Pope. So I was like,
Horchata Mark Pope. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yes.
I mean, they were they were 82nd in defense this last year, BYU, and it could be like a Rutgers situation. Not saying they're going to miss the tournament, but like, I mean,
I don't know. Rutgers are 2 top 5 picks. Yeah, it might be. Who knows?
What is Oklahoma State? What is Colorado? What is TCU? What the hell is West Virginia? Kansas State? Yeah. We'll see. Cincinnati? We'll see. Utah? No. Arizona State? Not likely. UCF? The Gooberhead Brigade has mostly moved on that they assembled this last season, which was feisty. Kansas? I think we're done. I'm not ready to make any predictions about Kansas. I don't think we're done. I think we're done.
Okay, we're done.
We're not done.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, I think we're done.
Yeah. Well, they did get rid of Hunter Dickinson and that's
Instant upgrade.
instantly
the heck
gonna
is
be
off the
better
program
after
now.
that.
My friends and I joke. I think I said this on this pod last year. My friends and I joke about how many tries would it take you to score on Hunter Dickinson in the pick and roll?
One.
And we're all like, no, dude, it would not take you 3 times, dude. It would take you a minimum, like maximum 2. Like maximum 2. Well, which open shot do you miss? Sorry. So like, I think old linebacker coach over there at Iowa State is unfortunately doing a pretty good job. You look at okay, so if we're going to top tier this, I'll give you my top tier to actually finally answer the question.
Yeah.
Texas Tech probably, Houston definitely, Iowa State probably / definitely, like, and then depending on how you feel about Baylor, Kansas.
I was gonna say I'd have those 3, and then I'd have Baylor.
Yeah, I think,
And Baylor's like, yeah, if we're tiering it, like that would be the ones like
it's
'cause
just
those
different
first 3
shades
are
of
probably-
green,
Yeah.
right? On the graph. Like, I think that's your top tier. I think Baylor will stay in competition for a conference championship more years than not, as long as Scott Drew is there.
resource wise and NIL wise, like that, like the top tier, and then you throw BYU in there as well because they have money. But like the top half of the Big 12 last year is pretty much, you feel like it's just gonna stay the top half of the Big 12, just because like those are the teams getting all the players and spending like the money, like Houston, Tech, Arizona, Baylor, BYU, Iowa State, Kansas.
Yep.
Like if TCU or Utah or someone all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, like I'm sure one of these bottom half teams will have a good year next year, but it's like last year they were there. So that's why it feels like there's just a disparity to me in the bottom and the top and bottom half of the Big 12, and that it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can like break into that group. But I thought that was an interesting sub point before we let you go. Anything else, Ish?
As a known Houston hater, What'd you think of the
University of Houston. University.
yes,
of
University of
Houston.
Houston, yes,
You like
And
the city?
and I love the city. It's in my blood.
yeah,
It's in my blood. I'm Houstonian for life.
Yeah.
The only the issue that I had was the way LJ Cryer left Baylor. I don't care if you leave. I understand wanting a bigger role.
Yeah.
I think wanting a bigger role at the position you've proven you can't play is weird. And then bad mouthing Baylor on your way out is even more weird. That's beside the point. Kelvin Sampson is just a straight up dog. He knows how to coach a team. If I was coaching a team, I would be coaching it with the same ethos that he does. Make them call it, right? Make them call it, play defense out of your mind. The offense will eventually take care of itself if you have enough talent on the roster. He's doing a hell of a job. And now they're recruiting, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Houston team, man. Those 3 freshmen are gonna have to do a lot more than I thought they were gonna have to do.
If you can turn Milo Suzan into a legitimate player on both sides of the court, that's what convinced me. That's
Here's
what
the thing,
convinced
they
me.
got Pop Isaacs now. Which
Can they
is
do it with Pop
that's
Isaacs too?
No, you can't. No,
come on, like
that's he's no. That's a heat check. This is a heat check.
I was just gonna say
This is a heat
Sampson.
check.
You know what? Let me see what I got.
This is the mellow pump fake. This is the mellow pump fake from the sideline when he's in street clothes. That's what this is, okay? And that's fine. He deserves it. He deserves. He deserves it, and that's fine.
Yeah,
Pop Isaacs can score in the Big East.
He can score.
In the Big East.
That's about it.
In the Big East, sometimes when he's not injured.
For about a month. I was about to say it was like a month.
Dog, what are we doing? Come on.
We'll see.
If he gets significant minutes like into February, I will be surprised.
We'll have to look at Houston's record to see why he's getting significant.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question.
We might be having some other discussions.
That's a good. Yeah. Yep.
We need to get a Tech fan on here and have them talk about Pop Isaacs. That was the one player. Who,
just let them talk just have them.
Yeah, just let them talk.
Here's the issue, though. Like, I love the guys that on our network's tech podcast.
Yeah.
Like, so I can never For football season, I love it. It's great. It's like the only team Baylor can beat in the down years is Texas Tech. It's great. But now they're just a pain in the ass because they have a competent coach over there now,
Right.
and it's just
they
like
have money and funding. It's crazy.
what am I supposed to do with this?
But Pop Isaacs is the only coach, or the only player that I've like talked to Tech fans about. The second the season ended, it was like, yeah, so he's gone. And like before he even entered the portal, it was like, yeah, so when they get rid of Pop, I was like, dang, already? He's like, yeah, nobody, it's fine. And I was like, oh, okay, that was the only player that's ever happened to. As long as
Now, Pop Isaacs is a great example of a player who was considered for Team Do stuff, but all the stuff he does is just, whoa, dude. Like, he needs to not do as much. Like, stop doing so much.
Right.
And then you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
It's like when you like Grant McCaslin, because he's such an anti-McCaslin player that like he's almost like when like that new dad comes in and like they have a 17-year-old who's just like crazy. He's like, I just got to get through this 1 year, and he's gone. I'm not trying to
Like,
be stepdad right now.
It's like the old TV show wife swap.
Yeah.
He's
Just,
like,
Guard
I just gotta
swap.
get through this,
I got 2
man.
weeks
Let me
here.
just
Pop Isaacs is running around doing stuff. Just,
Yep.
Pop Isaacs
Next,
just spilled Cheerios on the ground. I'm not cleaning that up.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like if Mick Cronin was still at Cincinnati, the episode of Wing Swap with Dan Skillings and Jalen Celestine. Just Mick Cronin just yelling, just being Mick.
Yeah.
And then Scott Drew being like, well, I made you Brussels sprouts. And it's just like, yeah. I love Scott Drew so much.
I love him too. He's the best.
He's so good. I imagine him just calling timeouts just to tell his guys that he loves them. Just like, guys, I had to tell you I love you so much. You guys are doing a great job. Just wanted to say hi. You guys doing okay? All right, get back out of there. All right.
Oh my god.
All right, Matt. Thank you. As
Thank
always.
you guys. Thank you guys. We got to remember some dudes.
Oh yeah.
We got to talk ball.
I'm gonna go watch more Quincy AC highlights.
Absolutely. 6'7" paint beast, I think is
Yeah.
what the TikTok said. It was great.
Pick a category. Let's see. Can you name the #1 assist leader in Baylor history?
Assist leader in Baylor history.
I can give you the years.
Yeah, give me a year.
91
If you give me the
to
year.
95.
Is that Teagle? No, that's not Teagle.
No.
Legend. 90 to 91.
No, 91 to 95. Those are the years.
Oh, 91 to 95.
Ooh.
Well, the better one would be to do it since 2000. If you
Yeah,
want.
that. I mean,
That
so
was-
like Tweety comes to mind, but that seems too obvious of an answer.
Tweety is 4 all time.
Four all time.
Third since 2000. When did you go to Baylor? What years?
07 to 11.
Okay, so you watched the number.
I was there for the birth of it, man. For the birth of it actually becoming something. It was crazy.
06 to 09
like-
is one, and
Like Aaron Bruce like strikes me, but I don't know that he
Number 9.
passed the ball enough. He was a play finisher more
He's
than
number
anything
9.
else.
all time.
Who played with Aaron Bruce? That's the reason I went to Baylor, is because I saw them playing a game in Lubbock. Aaron Bruce dives after a loose ball that he had no chance at getting. Crashed into like 3 people. And I was like, well, this is an interesting development. I've never seen this before.
This is where I'm supposed to be, right here.
I don't know. Who is it? I feel bad.
Burrells,
No joke.
and then Pierre Jackson.
That is even more surprising to
No.
me because I remember both of these guys as being the focal point of the offense from a scoring perspective.
Yeah, he
Like
only
I
had-
remember Henry Dugat being more of a facilitator
I mean,
as
but
a
Jarrell-
secondary creator.
and not to act like I watched Jarrell's play. I was younger at this point, but statistically, it was like 3.3, 3.8, 3.8, then 4.9 assists. So it was never like an outright like 8
And that's the
assists.
thing. My brain is saying like, oh, to lead in assists, you have to have like 11 or 12 a game, not in college ball.
No.
Interesting.
Wanna
What's
figure
up,
it out.
CJ? One of my favorite players, the lefty assassin. So good.
I hate throwing questions at people, trivia questions at people on podcasts, but I was just gonna
I kind of feel like I need to redeem myself. If you have another one, I will take another one.
Pick a category. 3-point
Ooh.
goals.
I was gonna say rebounding, but it's not fair if I pick it. So
Okay.
you pick
3-point
it. 3-point field goals in terms of percentage or quantity made.
Career makes.
Career makes.
Top
This
three are
needs to be
2005, all since 2005. The top 3.
all since 2005. I feel like Brady Heslip is up there.
Yep, number 2.
I feel
Make
like
that's for 1.
yeah. I'm thinking of just guys who just took a ton. Jared Butler didn't take a ton.
No,
but I'm
great.
Oh man, Kenny Cherry took all mid ranges.
Yeah, no. Years for number 1, 07 to 11, and number 3, 06 to 10.
Oh, so it's Lace. Oh, duh. This is stupid. What are we doing? It's Lace. Yeah, it's Lace Darius Dunn. What are we doing here? Yeah. I'm an idiot.
Oh,
I was like, I watched him play when I was there. Oh, it must have been, I don't know, the all-time Big 12 leading scorer for a period of time. Yeah, probably him.
When you get asked a question on podcasts or like on radio or something, like for me at least, I'm just like, don't do this to me. Don't.
Well, no, that's good I need that because that I need to be tested in terms of I'm terrible at remembering anything that happened more than 2 weeks ago. Like Evan can give me like the date and what happened in a game.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I think that was a year I was alive. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
3 is Tweety as well.
That makes sense.
Last one I'll give you.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Blocks, total blocks. Let's do that.
Mamadou has to be up there. Epe was up there.
Mamadou was 6. Epke.
Really?
Epke was 7. This is career blocks.
Oh, because they were only there. Yeah, Mamadou was there for 18 years, but like Epe was only there for 2.
5. Yeah, Mamadou averaged 1.4 for his career.
There ain't no way Josh Lomers is up there.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
They've had some good shot blockers.
Isaiah Austin.
Over the years. He's 3.
I don't know how many shots Anthony Jones blocked. Quincy blocked a bunch.
Quincy is number 2. And then number 1 has double Quincy AC, but he played in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. Brian Skinner?
Yes, sir.
No, I've no idea. Yeah. Oh,
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go,
Hey,
man.
I feel vindicated. Let's go. We ended that perfectly.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Matt.
Beautiful.
I appreciate that.
I mean, the shot blockers Bayless has had is crazy. Motley's down there. Like you said, Udo,
Yeah.
Thamba, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What a team. Or what a program. All right, man.
Weird program, but we love it. It's ours.
You can tell people where to find you and what I know you have a link in your bio as well, so you can plug everything you need to plug.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of hibernation there, but osoletter.com, go subscribe. We're gonna do a lot. We're gonna go back to what we originally were, getting a lot of weird stuff, funny stuff, fan service stuff. Right, I'm done writing game recaps that are, and this guy scored this many points, and this guy scored this many points. I can't do it anymore. osoletter.com at Matt is Bear. On really any of the social platforms, choose the level of fascism you'd like to subscribe to. It's up to you. But also on Between Two Bears, I think that's going to be where you're going to get the more of this, whatever this is. Between Two Bears podcast. We're getting into it. We have some fun stuff planned for the off season.
Love it. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt. We'll have you on again before. We'll squeeze you in between like Scott Drew and Nikki Collin. We'll have a Baylor week before the season.
I am on everything I love. You name your price. If you can get me onto the pod at the same time as Scott Drew.
We can try to make it happen.
Would be the funniest thing.
We could act like it's an accident, be like, oh.
I've interviewed a couple Baylor coaches before.
Yeah.
Like Mike McGraw, the golf coach.
Yeah.
He had no idea what to do with me. It was the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Not haha, but just like, like that was the kind of funny it was. Scott Drew. I know you guys managed to get Drew for for 15 minutes most seasons. I love it. most genuine human being you've ever met in your life. Nikki Collin,
100%.
hey, only 3 losses in conference play. Bears have reloaded. We've stolen the entire Auburn roster and most of the SEC.
That's true.
And the Auburn coaching staff, for that matter.
Yeah.
Like,
And the coach.
the Bears are coming. The Bears are coming. All right.
Love it.
I'm excited.
All right.
Thanks,
thank
y'all.
for joining us. We will talk to y'all later. Subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already. We'll talk to y'all later.